Have you ever stopped to wonder how something completely random, like a sudden ban on drones halfway across the world in Beijing, could end up affecting the total on your grocery receipt? Seriously, it sounds like pure chaos theory, right? But honestly, in today's hyper-connected world, it's just the reality of global economics. It's all connected. So let's connect those dots.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are looking at how China and Iran are actively reshaping global trade. Right now, we're witnessing these massive, fundamental shifts across the entire global economy. And to truly grasp what's happening to international markets, and frankly, your cost of living, we have to look straight at the strategic moves being made by these major players.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll be covering the global trade shift, China's strategic moves, supply chain disruption, food and fuel volatility, and finally, the broader security landscape.
Section 1. The global trade shift. So, right off the bat, the global economy is being completely transformed by three main drivers. First up, we've got strategic tariff removals over in China. Second, there are some really significant commodity supply disruptions happening in the Middle East. And third, we're seeing this sudden, intense volatility in energy prices. And you know what? China and Iran are sitting right smack in the middle of these rapid changes, literally altering how goods flow across the entire planet.
Section 2. China's strategic moves.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the fascinating paradox China is currently executing. Externally, they're on this massive economic charm offensive. They're actually rolling out a zero-tariff regime for almost all of Africa to really boost their global soft power. But at the exact same time, internally, they're locking things down. Authorities just heavily tighten regulations, straight up banning drone sales in Beijing in the name of public safety. It's this super delicate balancing act, right? External economic expansion on one hand and intense internal security on the other.
But honestly, that external strategy in Africa is incredibly complex. I mean, sure, zero tariffs are clearly designed to boost Chinese influence. But analysts are already waving red flags, warning that this policy is going to lead to highly uneven economic gains across the continent. So we're talking about a move that could potentially shift the entire balance of power within Africa itself.
Section 3. Supply chain disruption.
Meanwhile, if we look over at the Middle East and Asia, there's this compounding crisis that's just breaking down regional supply chains. It's like a domino effect. Step 1, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz chokes off a totally vital maritime artery. Then, Step 2, additional Chinese restrictions severely hit the global supply of fertilizer. And then Step 3, the kicker. This massive bottleneck collides perfectly with the start of the Asian planting season. So you're left with a massive supply deficit for absolute essentials.
And just to be absolutely clear, this fertilizer hit isn't just some minor economic hiccup. No, it is an immediate, severe food security threat. Because the planting season is literally kicking off right now without these essential agricultural inputs, an entire region's ability to feed its own population has suddenly become incredibly vulnerable.
Section 4. Food and fuel volatility.
So the crucial point is that all of these massive supply chain shortages and geopolitical maneuvers, they ultimately trickle down directly to you through surging global energy costs. Because of all the pressure we've just outlined, international oil prices have completely spiked. They just hit their absolute highest level since 2022.
How exactly did we get back to those 2022 numbers? Well, it's a pretty direct sequence of events. Over recent days, reports started emerging that President Trump is being briefed on new military or diplomatic options regarding Iran, and then today, international oil prices surged in direct response to that geopolitical tension. It's a classic market reaction. High-level diplomatic tension immediately equals a higher cost for global fuel.
Let's move to Section 5, the broader security landscape, and see how this builds.
To really complete the puzzle here, we have to zoom out and look at the wider political realities. We're seeing China rapidly expanding its role across Asia's broader security and economic landscape. This goes way beyond just trade deals or fertilizer restrictions. They are fundamentally embedding themselves into the underlying security architecture of the entire region.
A really defining example of these profound, complex shifts is the ongoing detention of Myanmar's former leader, Aung San Suu Kyi. It serves as a pretty stark reminder that in this rapidly evolving landscape, regional economics and hard political security are deeply and probably permanently intertwined.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Think about it. When China prioritizes internal security with a local drone ban, it perfectly mirrors their external maneuvering that restricts global fertilizer. And when that collides with tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, fuel prices spike, shipping costs absolutely soar, and planting seasons are threatened. And every single bit of that lands directly on your grocery bill.
So as these vital trade routes choke off and major powers rapidly shift their strategies, we have to ask, who truly controls tomorrow's global economy? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you next time.